What's going on, everyone? All right, time for the next review. March 17th, the St. Patrick's Beatdown and No Fun in Troy, New York. I love No Fun. It's a great venue. To me, it's got one of the better sounding audio systems, especially for a venue that size. It's not like tiny, but it's small. But it's a really simple audio system, and it's like always fun to be there and just hear everything so well, regardless of where you're at. Otherwise, this was kind of a bittersweet show. So, it's a two piece, who was one of the bands I really went for. Pure Bliss, another band that I really went for. Recount from Germany, who I didn't know them, but I think they were actually second to last. And then Urine and Self-Inflicted, two local bands, which I didn't love the first time I saw. And then the other thing tonight is I love supporting hardcore, the scene, the kind of culture that's been growing. But tonight was some of the ugliest kind of behavior I saw in hardcore, and it made me really not want to go to at least hardcore around here anymore. And it involves some people that are definitely in the scene. I won't give names or describe them super accurately, but if you were there, you saw some of it. Anyway, we'll get to that. So Self-Inflicted came on. They're a relatively new group. I caught them at, I think, their first show or maybe their second show. Kind of like a modern, kind of hardcore, a little bit metalcore band. And I just didn't. They didn't do much for me the first time. This time they were clearly they've done more shows. They've been rehearsing a lot more. They were a lot more kind of tight. They sounded really good, and it was definitely like a really cool second viewing of this band. So I don't know exactly where they're located, but they're relatively close to Troy, if nothing else. And I think if they play their cards right, they can continue to grow pretty easily. So good job, Self-Inflicted. Urine was up next. If you haven't seen Urine, I mean they are definitely kind of a crossover band. It's a little metal, a little grinded and sludge, and it's kind of a mess. But I think it's pretty deliberate. They definitely have fun with it. They were filming a video this night, and again, the first time I saw them, I didn't love them. But like with Self-Inflicted tonight, that night, they were just more composed, and they got the crowd fired up for sure. So it was really cool to see. Then Pure Bliss was up next. I was really excited to see them, and they did great. So if you like hardcore, but you wanted it to be more like Crowbar does hardcore, a little sludgy, this is a band you got to see. I mean, definitely slower and heavier in a lot of ways, and it was, they have great stage presence. They were working the crowd, and it was at this point, like, the crowd was going really hard all night already, but, like, in a way where, like, there was less restraint than I've seen at most hardcore shows, in that they were swinging what looked like they were swinging to hurt. I know I got caught a few times. It happens, but also not a bit. Crowd killing is one thing. I'm not a huge fan of people getting hit in the back of the head just for like obvious safety reasons. But so Pure Bliss at this point, now the crowd is definitely at like a boiling point, and you could see there were some people there who they did not like it, and they were swinging back. And so when Recount came on, and I was really excited to see a hardcore band from Germany who they definitely, you could hear like the European hardcore influence, but you could also hear the American hardcore influence. And these guys had a really good balance of, it was theirs, but they shared all these influences. And this was the point where the night started to get a little bit ruined, because the hardcore dancing was going harder in a way that some people clearly didn't want to be a part of. So the dance floor there is just kind of a square, and it butts right up against the bar. Now, between the bar and the floor, there's a row of chairs so people can sit at the bar and turn around if they want to watch. And to me, like, people at the bar shouldn't be directly involved in like getting crowd killed and stuff, but the dancers felt differently, and so they were going pretty hard, and the people at the bar were swinging back, and it started to cause a problem. You could see it, you could hear it. So Recount put on a great set, but by the time Two Piece come on, tensions were already pretty high, and then some people from the local scene kind of confronted these people, and this is part of what was ugly for me. There was no on either side, but mostly on the scene side. There was no intention of trying to work it out or trying to squash it or work on it and move past. There was a lot of aggression, and then they started talking more and more. And I was like, all right, cool, maybe they're going to squash it. And it ended up, well, it was really distracting because, like, Two Piece was on, and they were playing, and all this stuff is going on. Like, it was the most important thing there. And then people at the bar ended up leaving, and kudos to them because I thought it was going to go down. But, and the people in the scene were like so. The people came over. They weren't even involved. They didn't even see it. So it was hearsay. So now, like, their nights are getting ruined by people who weren't even involved. The band's set was being basically ignored by a lot of people. And it was one of the ugliest scenes I've ever seen at a hardcore show. I've been to quite a few different states. Even different countries, and this one, like, I left, and unfortunately I left like 3 songs into Two Pieces set, just because it was that, I don't even know the word. It was that unfortunate. So overall, musically, the bands all did great. I didn't get to see all the Two Pieces set, sorry to say. And what was cool is Two Piece was doing, it was Two Piece and the gang. They were playing with somebody from Recount and I can't remember who else. Another one of the members of one of the other bands was also involved. So it was a really cool arrangement. I didn't get to see it, I didn't get to say. So I think, unfortunately for my taste, I think staying away from some of the hardcore in this area, I think that's going to be kind of my approach. Some of the bigger shows are probably fine, since there's a lot more people involved and everything. But yeah, so I wish I could say more positive about the night. Bands did great. Go see them if you haven't. Recount, I don't know how often they'll be around, but you know, Germany's not super far away, I guess. But yeah, and I'm hoping that No Fun, you know, they don't really have like staff there kind of monitoring this stuff, so I hope that is a change that they bring in the future, because I want people to go to shows and, you know, go nuts, go hard, all that stuff, but that respect has to be there, otherwise we have a problem. So yeah, okay, I got a few more reviews going up this week. Please check them out. Thank you for supporting. Leave comments below, good, bad, ugly, whatever. And talk to you soon.